Good day, grade 11 life science students. Thank you very much for tuning and following Metric Hub. It is that time of the year. We are working on term 3. We are working on extensive revision. I have got nice questions here that we are going to work on together. As you can see here, this is just a very beautiful relevant work that is relevant for term 3. So just keep connected and then we can do this together right now. So now, this is September revision examination or revision exams. So now, without wasting any time, we want to look at questions that are attached here. We want to look at questions that are attached here. It's 2025. I said it's a revision. It's term 3 work that we are working on. So which of the following combinations of factors contribute to an increase in the size of population? Population size. What factors can increase the population size? When we talk about mortality, it means death. And natality, it talks about birth. So if you look at both of these two terms, natality, death cannot increase population. Emigration, we are talking about leaving or moving out. Emigration, it means moving out of a given emigration, moving out of a habitat. When organisms move out of a habitat, so this one is basically, we are saying emigration, it is basically a negative effect, or it's a minus. It subtracts, it's a minus towards population. We are saying it is a minus when we look at population, talking about emigration. It is a minus. It actually reduces. It reduces the population when you talk about emigration. And then immigration, it talks about moving into. It identifies organisms moving into a place. Moving into a place, we say that is immigration. So this one, it aids. It aids the organisms, it aids the number of organisms, emigration. And obviously, therefore, when we look at these factors, which of the following combination of factors contribute to population increase? We said death, obviously, it reduces, it subtracts, and then natality, it aids. So if you can look at these factors, we are saying it should be immigration and natality results in population increase. It should be C. C is the correct answer, which identifies that a population of given organisms increases because of what? Because of movement of organisms into a given habitat, and also birth increasing in their birth rate. It results in a population increase. We are given question 1.2 and 1.3 are based on the diagram below, which is actually showing a type of a blood vessel that we need to identify. So as you can see, we are saying the blood network or the blood vessel labeled M is a branch of the. If you can look also on the check again on previous videos, we can see that we identified this. We identified and analyzed that the pulmonary artery is shown by a typical diagrammatic representation of the blood vessel that we are seeing here. And then part N represents dash. Part N represents, what does N represents? N, it represents part N which is shown here. What does N represent? N, it represents, actually, if you can look at it, you can see that it shows the alveolus. It shows the alveolus. N represents the alveolus, which we are saying the micro sacs that are sacs that are found in the what? That are found in the pulmonary artery. So what is N representing? N, it is representing the alveolus, which is B. I'm saying M, N. N represents the alveolus. N represents the alveolus, that is shown by what? By letter B. And then you know that the bronchus and the bronchioles, you know that they are supposed to be shown when you talk about from the lungs entering there, to say that the major artery or the major branching, and then it branches into the micro one, the bronchioles, and then obviously the trachea. We are looking at the what? The esophagus. And then diagram below represents a gender-based pyramid. There is a gender-based pyramid which is shown on diagram number 4. So what is we are supposed to look at? Let's just quickly look at the gender-based pyramid that we are given there. We are given the age, which is shown on the vertical axis, the male, and of course the female. We have got the number of individuals that are varying and showing a progressive growth, rapid growth, that is shown here. We can see a rapid growth rate, as is shown by what? By a broader base, which is actually also maintained throughout to the highest level life expectancy. So now what we need to say is that the question is saying which one of the following is the correct interpretation of the population represented above. The correct interpretation of the population that is represented here, declining population. We can't talk about declining because we are seeing a progressive growth, which is shown by high birth rate. We have got high birth rate here, high birth rate that is shown here, and then the population is maintained. It is maintained progressively or rapidly increasing as we go there. So we cannot talk about A. A cannot do because declining population. This is not stable characteristics of a developed country. Developed countries does not have. Developed countries do not have high birth rate. Developed countries do not have high birth rate. High birth rate does not exist in developed countries. And then we can also declining population. We said the moment it says declining, it is not declining because our population is increasing. And then rapidly growing population, we can see a rapidly growing, that is correct, that the population is rapidly growing, characteristic of a developing country. Because of what? Because it actually shows high birth rate. High birth rate is actually correct to say that developing countries have got high birth rate. So our correct answer, which of the characteristics represents which one of the following is the correct interpretation of the population? So the correct answer must be D. Rapidly growing population characteristics of a developing country is shown here. Rapidly growing population, which is a characteristic of a developing country, as you can see there. So that is correct to say that D is the correct answer. Characteristics of a developing country, which is shown by a rapidly growing population. So next question, 1.2. 1.2, it is saying give the correct biological term for each of the following descriptions. Write only the term next to the question number. A group of organisms of the same species living in the same habitat at a given time. We define that as what? It is population. Population is a group of organisms, of the same species in the same habitat at the same time. We define that as population. The maximum number of individuals that an area can support, we can call that also what? It is called carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is the maximum number of organisms that a given area can sustain. If the carrying capacity is exceeded, it results in overpopulation, and also the destruction of the given habitat. The tube that carries urine from the kidney to the bladder, we call that a ureter. It is the ureter that carries urine from the bladder, from the kidney to the bladder. That is what you call a ureter. And then question 1.3 is saying, indicate each of the following, whether each of the following columns applies to A, B, or both, as shown in this question above here. So what we need to look at is what is the correct answer in this case. Kittens competing for their mother's milk. When kittens compete for their mother's milk, is it inter-specific competition or intra-specific competition? So if you can see kittens competing, we are saying kittens competing for their mother's milk. It is within a species, so it is called intra, intra-specific competition, intra-specific competition is the correct answer. So we can say that number 1.3, we can say that it is B. 1.3.1, it is B only. It is B only because it is amongst the kittens, which is a specific species. If it was kittens and then they are competing with leopards, they are competing with eagles, they are competing with reptiles, whatever that we can give, that is interspecific, but intra is within the same organism population species. Excretory organ 1.3, 1.3.2, which one is an excretory organ? We are saying the skin, it is an excretory. We talk about the waste, the salts and dissolved whatsoever. The liver, also we talk about it also as an excretory organ. So we can say that it is what? It is both A and B. The skin and the liver, they are both excretory organs. They release certain waste, they release some substances. Both of them are excretory organs. So we are saying they are both excretory organs. That is correct. And then the diagram below shows a mechanical process of air moving in and outside, in and out of the lungs in humans. It is showing the mechanical process of the process of air moving in and out of the lungs. So now, first question is saying, we are given this. Also refer to the channel again, class. Refer to the channel. There is a video on gaseous exchange in humans. Gaseous exchange, channel video. We are saying gaseous exchange. Gaseous exchange. We have a video there that actually identifies and explains this. So now we want to talk about the intercostal muscles, or the muscles or the organs responsible or involved in gaseous exchange, and also their changes, what occurs, what happens with the lungs, what happens with the ribs, the diaphragm, and all that. So now, when you talk about inhalation and exhalation, so now identify processes. Identify process one, which results in terms of the increase in the chest cavity. We are saying it results in the increase. The lungs becomes bigger, and also the intercostal muscles, they expand, and then we have got such an expression. This is shown by inspiration. This process 1, it is inspiration. We can say inspiration, or we can say inhalation. Inspiration or inhalation is what happens in process 1. And then process 2, obviously, we are talking about the decrease in the volume of the chest decreases. It becomes smaller, and also we can see that is the change from B to what, to the change that is taking place to which is the opposite of what inspiration, which is exhalation and expiration. Expiration or exhalation. Expiration or exhalation is process what? Process 2. It's process 2, as we can see there. That is process 2. And then the next question is saying, identify part B. Part B, as we can see there, I am saying that the part B, it is the diaphragm. It is the diaphragm. Part B is the diaphragm. As you can see, that one, the diaphragm is part B, and then 1 and 2 are shown as I have marked them, on the diagram there. So let's just see, state the changes in structures. In structure labeled A, lifted or lowered during process 1. State the changes in structure A. Structure A, state the changes in structure A. Structure A, what is structure A? It is the what? It is the rib. We can say ribs is A. So what changes state the changes in structure, state the changes in structure A, labeled as lifted up or lowered during process 1. Structure A in process 1 in inhalation. During inhalation, process 1, we said process 1 is inhalation. We said inhalation, during inhalation, the structure A, which we are saying the ribs, the ribs, what happens with them? They are lifted upwards and outwards. Are lifted upwards and outwards. That's what happens in structure in terms of during inhalation, ribs are lifted upwards and outwards. Ribs are lifted upwards and upwards and outwards. And then in terms of exhalation, the ribs exhalation during exhalation, ribs are lowered. Ribs are not lifted, they are lowered. They are lowered downwards and inwards. They are lowered downwards and inwards. As you can see, ribs are lowered downwards and inwards during exhalation. Ribs are lowered downwards and inwards during exhalation. They are lowered, but here you can see that the ribs are lowered and are lowered downwards and inwards also. They are pulled inwards, and during inhalation, they are lifted up and also outwards. So we can see that because of the differences in these expression that we are seeing there. So that's what you need to understand in terms of the processes that are taking place on ribs responding to inhalation and exhalation. So we have got the table below shows the composition of inhaled air and exhaled air. I'm sure again refer to channel also. Refer to channel as well. Refer to channel also on this. So now what is happening is that we are given the various composition of gases, inhaled and exhaled gases, in terms of their variations and expressions, how much oxygen and carbon dioxide within inhaled and exhaled air. So question 2.21, question 2.21, it is saying give the reason. Obviously, remember that the gas, we have got the inhaled, exhaled, and then we have got this oxygen. Sometimes we say oxygen, carbon dioxide, and then we can talk also about water vapor. Of course, here is not given, but sometimes it is also there. So give one reason why the oxygen concentration of exhaled air is lower than the air inhaled. This also, like I said, if you refer also to the channel, you can understand is that what you can understand is that oxygen concentration of exhaled air is lower, is less, is actually less than, it's less than the inhaled air. The air that is inhaled has got more oxygen. It has got more of oxygen and it has got less of oxygen. So now, what is the reason? What is the reason for that? What causes that variation? So now what you need to understand is that the reason is because oxygen is absorbed from the air in the alveolus into the bloodstream during cellular respiration. The air is needed. Oxygen is needed during cellular respiration uh, because oxygen is absorbed from the air in the alveoli during cellular respiration. So it has been used during cellular respiration. Oxygen is used or absorbed in alveolus uh, during cellular respiration. That is why you see that oxygen is used or absorbed in alveolus during cellular respiration. That is why you can see that we have got more oxygen when it enters, but when it exits, it is less because it has been used during cellular respiration. If you refer again very well to those calculations that I always give you there, you would see that the answer is this one. Oxygen is used or absorbed in alveolus during cellular respiration, and therefore that is why it is less in terms of what that is why it is less when it is exhaled. And then calculate the difference between the carbon dioxide concentration of exhaled air. Calculate the difference between the carbon dioxide concentration between exhaled air and inhaled air. So this one, question 2.2, 2.2.2, calculate the difference between exhaled and inhaled air, carbon dioxide. So we have got carbon dioxide 0.4 and 4%. So calculate the difference. When we calculate the difference, we are just saying 4%, 4% subtract 0.04, calculate the difference. 4% minus 0.04% is what you are calculating. And then you can also check it there to say that what you get when you put it on the calculator. So you are just showing that this is the differences. As you can see that the inhaled air, we have got 0.04% of carbon dioxide, and when it is exhaled, it is 4%. So now what is happening is that when you calculate it's the difference that you are looking at. we are looking at what the difference means, what means subtract. I'm sure you still remember maths difference means subtracting. So what you get when you subtract that, you can now get 3 point, you can get 3 point what 3.96 3.96%, which you can get on that. Just nice mathematics. Describe the homeostatic control of carbon dioxide when it is high in the blood. This has also been answered. Refer to the channel. Refer to channel. It has been answered in the it has been also answered on one or so times, more than once on the channel. Refer to channel carbon dioxide control, or look on homeostasis on the channel homeostatic control mechanisms. You will find that when carbon dioxide is high, when carbon dioxide is high in the body, what happens? We say when carbon dioxide is high in the blood, this has been explained that you need to understand that when carbon dioxide levels rises in the blood, it lowers the pH, which causes it to be more acidic. And then we have got the chemoreceptors in the medulla oblongata, the carotid arteries and the aorta detect the increase in carbon dioxide. So therefore, a message is sent to the breathing control center in the medulla oblongata. So the medulla actually stimulates the intercostal muscles and the diaphragm to contracting more strongly and frequently, which again, this increases the breathing rate and depth, causing more carbon dioxide to be exhaled, and therefore carbon dioxide levels returns to normal, which is through a negative feedback mechanism. So I'm saying please refer to the channel. It has been explained this number question 2.32 2.2.3, just the way I have explained it there, the functions that are performed by chemoreceptors in the medulla oblongata as a result of the lowering of the pH, where it becomes more acidic because of more carbon dioxide levels. So now, please just follow that and we can be able to get things right. We have an extract on diabetes, diabetes insipidus. Is a condition in which kittens are unable to prevent the excretion of water. It's a condition which the kittens are unable to prevent the excretion of water. So now, the question, the DI is not the same as diabetes mellitus type 1 and 2. However, untreated what happens are diabetes mellitus cause constant thirst and frequent urination. People with diabetes mellitus have high blood sugar glucose. Those with DI have normal blood sugar levels, but their kidneys are not able to balance fluid and salt in the body. So DI caused by lack of ADH is called the central diabetes insipidus. And then when DI is caused by failure of the kidney to respond to ADH, antidiuretic hormone, the condition is called nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. You understand? That's what happens there. So now we just want to refer to the question and then say, state one difference in people with diabetes insipidus and diabetes mellitus. I guess this has already been given in our explanation there. We have got the answers there where we are saying people with diabetes mellitus, people with diabetes, mellitus, people who have got diabetes mellitus, what happens with them? They have high blood sugar. They have high glucose level. They have high glucose they have high glucose levels. Well, people with diabetes insipidus have less. Well, people, but don't forget that I'm only writing in short here because these are notes, but in exam you don't put short in short writing. We are saying whereas people have got normal blood sugar levels with diabetes, with people with diabetes, uh, people with diabetes are insipidus. With diabetes, people with diabetes insipidus have normal blood sugar levels. They have normal blood sugar levels. They have normal blood sugar levels. That is one thing that we can see. We can see that they've got high blood sugar. Those with have got normal. These have got high blood sugar levels, but their kidneys are not able to balance the fluids, which is what is shown in the essay. But they cannot balance. They cannot balance water and salt in the body. They cannot balance water and salt. They cannot balance water and salt in the body. That is one thing with people with diabetes mellitus. So this answer is just there in the essay. That's what you need to understand. And then, apart from lack of ADH, state one other cause of diabetes insipidus mentioned in this. We are saying it is caused. One other cause is that it is caused by failure of the kidney, which is actually marked or given in the essay there, failure of the kidney. So that is in the answer, that's the answer that is given there. Failure of kidneys to respond, failure of kidney to respond, failure of the kidneys to respond to ADH. Failure of the kidneys to respond to ADH, which is the nephrogenic, which we say that is the nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. So now, with reference to the extract, explain why, with reference to the extract, with reference to the this one, explain why lack of ADH results in diabetes insipidus. This is also given there that we have got ADH helps the kidneys reabsorb water. ADH basically helps the kidneys to absorb water. ADH basically helps the kidneys to absorb water. That is one thing that we are quite aware of. It helps the kidneys to absorb water. When it is absent, the kidneys cannot prevent water loss. when it is absent, the kittens cannot prevent water loss. When it is absent, the kittens cannot prevent water loss. So large amounts of dilute urine are produced, leading to diabetes insipidus. Hence, large amounts of dilute urine are produced. Large amounts of dilute urine are produced. Large amounts of dilute urine are produced. That is question A. Our answer A, it is starting from here, and then it goes all the way like that. And then B, question B is saying a person with DI will have constant thirst and frequent urination. Explain why a person with DI will have constant thirst and frequent urination as a person with diabetes mellitus. So here, the reason is that, let me just change the pen quickly. The reasons here is that, if you can see here, B, both conditions, in both conditions, basically the body loses too much water through urine. In both conditions, the body loses too much water is lost through urine. Too much water through urine. In both conditions, the body loses too much water through urine. This actually results in what? This water loss causes dehydration, resulting in dehydration, We have got dehydration, which obviously results in what? In constant thirst, which dehydration triggering constant thirst, thirsting, and frequent urination occurs as kittens continue excreting excess fluid. And frequent urination occurs. Frequent urination occurs, class. It occurs because kittens continue excreting. It occurs because kittens continue excreting excess fluid. Since kittens are continuously excreting excess fluids. So basically, that is what is happening in this regard class. That is what is happening. The mark recapture method, we are not going to do it anyway because I see that it actually falls on term 4. We are going to do it, and actually, if you want it again, it is there on the channel, on term 4 content. So please just check this, and don't forget to keep on following and subscribing, because like I said, we are in the season of revision, and all the work is gonna be there. We want to do every chapter, every piece of work is gonna be there. So thank you very much, and always have a wonderful stay, and don't forget to share and subscribe, ne?